speed, and we've got it near the Crestview area by 12:45, so only about 15 minutes away from Crestview, and that's really over on the east and north side of town. I would say the west side of town, you've got 5 or 10 minutes, and this thing's going to be right on you if you're in the Crestview area. We've got it near Dearland by 12:54, and then it'll continue over towards Walton County. So confirmed tornado. That's a possible tornado on the ground. Just to give you a little education on the watch and warning process, tornado watches are issued when the conditions are favorable for tornadoes. We're under one of those right now. Tornado warnings means either one's been spotted or it's indicated by Doppler radar and that we're having rotation. This is a confirmed tornado warning. So not only is this one a potential tornado, but looking at it, we're getting a ground truth report indicating some debris aloft, and that's also now being relayed on National Weather Service chat. Just got that. A radar debris signature is evident on the latest scan. Of course, we've been showing you that for about the last 5 minutes here on your storm tracker, and the person running the radar right now is meteorologist Michael White. Michael, that stands out. Looks like we've got a tornado on the ground right now, currently in Okaloosa County.
Yeah, we sure do, Jason. I think that based on what the Weather Service has said, based on how tight the velocity is now, and that really strong debris signature off what's known as the correlation coefficient, that is without a doubt a tornado on the ground. But the bad news is that's showing up in a very heavily trafficked area right on Interstate 10 near Holt and moving to the east at 50 miles an hour. It is a fast moving system, but that thing is packing a punch, and even in the new volume scan, look at how significant that is. And the reason why we call it a debris signature is because debris is actually being lofted from the radar. The radar beam is picking that up, and this radar beam is coming off Eglin Air Force Base, which is fairly close to Okaloosa County, so it's not a tremendous distance from the radar site to where that possible tornado is, which means the accuracy is improved in that case than if this were coming off the Mobile radar, which is quite a ways away. But this is coming off the Eglin Air Force Base radar, and that is a tornado on the ground with a debris signature right over Interstate 10 that's going to be working its way to the east at about 50 miles per hour. And this is a loop over the last 30 minutes. And I'm going to, you can see right there where the signature is working its way to the north and east. So based on its movement, based on its trajectory, it looks like it's going to cross US 90 to the east of Gallagher and east of Blackberry Circle, and it's going to work its way over toward Milligan. So if you know anyone that are in these communities, your tornado, possible tornado is right there where I'm pointing, that little pocket of yellow, and that's going to work its way to the east and northeast. If you know anyone in those areas, they need to get into their safe place right away. That's the lowest level of their home, away from doors, away from windows. If you live in an apartment complex, you want to be on the first floor. If you live on a second or third floor, you always want to be friends with a first floor neighbor, a place you can go because you definitely want to be as low to the ground as you possibly can be. Hopefully when we get this tornado through Okaloosa County, we won't see any more of these because the tornado risk has ended for locations west of Okaloosa County. So we get this out of Okaloosa, we get it out of our area. So that's what we're hoping for. But based on the debris signature, based on what we're seeing on the radar, it looks like this is just going to be a very dangerous storm. And you can even see, Jason, based on just what's known as the reflectivity, which shows the rain, it even looks like it's bowing out slightly right around Milligan, which means even the straight line wind threat would be a bit more significant too.
Yeah, and possibly even a little subtle hook echo right in through here as well. If you look at it and you kind of make out, you've got your supercell thunderstorm, and then it'll be hooking right there a little bit, and right there near Interstate 10 near the base of that hook is where we have that debris signature. And Michael made a great point. The official forecast has it moving east, due east at 50 miles an hour, but obviously in looking at the latest coming in here on radar, both with the velocity scan and the debris scan, it is an east-northeast track of this, and it's going to keep it right on Interstate 10, which is terrible to have that going on. So a possible tornado along Interstate 10. We've noted some debris aloft. That is when a tornado is going along the ground, it picks up branches, it picks up all kinds of things and gets them shot up into the atmosphere. And then the Doppler radar can tell not only what direction the object is traveling, but what it's composed of, whether it's a rain droplet or something else. In this particular case, it looks like the debris signature was very strong around 12:31. And looking at the levels on it here, tornado warning in effect at that time. Then now coming forward with the debris signature, it's not as well defined, but it still exists. So still potentially some debris right south of Gallagher, right in through there. And you can see that's that debris getting carried up into the top part of the thunderstorm. So we're continuing to look at a Boeing signature to this as well. So it could be evolving and turning more into a severe thunderstorm threat. It also has the potential to be producing a tornado right now, because we have had the report of debris showing up on our latest from our Storm Tracker Doppler radar. Here's Crestview. And looking at this storm here, there is a Boeing signature, and this is real similar to the way it looked when that cell came through the Admore area about 8:55 this morning, and we had reports of damage and injuries there. This is also starting to get into a much higher populated area, so if you've traveled between Crestview and Pensacola before, there's really not a lot of development along that stretch of Interstate 10, but everything changes once you get over here in central Okaloosa County and we start seeing a much highly populated area as we work over towards Highway 85 and also Highway 90 as well as Interstate 10. So we're looking at a potential straight line wind threat here, along with the possibility of a tornadic threat. The cell right now is not as well defined with the debris signature and also with the rotation signature as what we had going on about 10 minutes ago, but it is possibly producing straight line wind regardless of the fact that it's creating a tornado at this time. And that straight line wind damage can be just as bad. It can be very significant. We've seen some horrible damage up near the Atmore area today from straight line winds that were in excess of 70 miles an hour potentially. Also could have potentially been a tornado in that area as well. We're waiting for crews to come back and confirm exactly what's happened. So just to update you, we are under a tornado warning for Okaloosa County, and that's going to stay in effect until 1:15 this afternoon. The tornado warned storm is located within this red box right here, and that's going to include pretty much the entire portion of Crestview, all of town, all the neighborhoods to the north, all the development along Highway 85 to the south. As we get down around the interstate, there are a lot of restaurants, a lot of gas stations, churches, all that down 85. Then you get up on the north part of town here, and that's where we see a lot more in the way of neighborhoods here. And we've got that rotation area that's tracking in. And this is red right here, meaning tornado warning is in effect. So there is a tornado warning as well as obviously a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. I want to zoom out wide just to show you, if you're not in this area, if you're not in the Santa Rosa County area, you're probably wondering, well, what about the bad weather? What's the threat? The tornado watch has been dropped for all our Mississippi counties. It's not in effect for Monroe County, for Clark County, for Washington County, and Mobile County right now. The worst of the weather is really from South Baldwin eastward, so this line is making progress through the area, and we're starting to see a lowering threat back to the west. You can see for yourself all the action here. And interesting that tornado warning storm is occurring within an area of very high concentration of cloud to ground lightning that's going on right there right now in Okaloosa County. But you get back here and the line is not as aggressive in its intensity. We're not completely out of it as far as the chance of showers and thunderstorms, but the weather is improving rapidly right now over Mobile County and even South Baldwin County. It looks like that line edging more over into Escambia County. Pensacola is getting rocked with very heavy rain right now, lightning and thunder, and we're looking at a special marine warning for Pensacola Bay, but we're not currently under a warning for Pensacola in the metro area right now. The one warning we have that's a tornado warning is Okaloosa County. And just to update you on this, we've seen what was likely a confirmed tornado, in that we had a very strong debris signature on radar as this thing was close to Interstate 10. It is now tracking towards Crestview. The circulation is becoming more broad and highly likely producing gusty winds, downburst winds, and straight line winds as we continue to track it. So that was it right there, Michael, right around 12:30. That would have been your possible tornado there just south of Gallagher, and we were noting the high levels on the correlation coefficient, the high levels of debris and the debris signature at that time, and we've watched that debris signature change a little and evolve. Let's look at it now because it may be starting to tighten up again. Look at that right there. There's the Gallagher area, and then boom, right there still looks like some debris potentially in the air. So regardless of what's causing it, whether it's a straight line wind or a tornado, we may still have some problems going on with a possible tornado on the ground right now along Highway 90 between Gallagher and Milligan. So we're still noting debris, whether it's aloft or whether it's being created by actual tornado on Interstate 10 and Highway 90 right now. That is, regardless of that, the threat is very real, whether we are looking at a potential tornado or an actual tornado. So we're watching that one very closely still. I mean, we've got a very strong debris signature right now on radar, Michael.
Yeah, we sure do, Jason. Just continuing to monitor with the Weather Service, and they're talking about not only this storm, also keeping our eye on the storms that are just south of Pensacola. There's a marine warning for that particular area, but there is no tornadic activity, which is good news, other than the possibility of a few water spouts. So as we look back off toward the south and in Pensacola, you can see that we're just not dealing with anything other than broad signatures, which would be nothing more than water spouts at best. So it looks like Pensacola's okay other than the straight line wind threat, because you still have massive amounts of rain and lightning that are pushing through that area, especially south of I-10, Pensacola Metro, Gulf Breeze, the 3 Mile Bridge, Naval Air Station, Casino Beach, and eventually over toward Navarre and other parts of Highway 98. So that is what we're watching now. The Weather Service just said they're going to continue the tornado warning until 1:15 for a tornado that was located 5 miles south of Baker or 5 miles west of Crestview, moving to the east at approximately 25 miles per hour. So that would be based on where we had that tornado debris signature. We'll pull that up on the correlation coefficient and see if we can get another good look at that. That would be, well, based on this, it looks like it wanted to increase in intensity again just east of Gallagher, but now what's left of it is right there around Milligan, right there around parts of Highway 90 along Interstate 10. That puts it near Gilmore Road, Lacey Lane, which is Florida Highway 4, and that's very close to Crestview proper. That would be right in this general area. Right there, right in this spot of Milligan, right there is where your possible tornado would be. Not necessarily sure if that is the case, but we're just going based on whether or not we're seeing debris lofted. And also, this radar site is fairly close to Okaloosa County. The radar beam is actually coming off of Eglin Air Force Base, which is not far from Okaloosa County at all, which means that the chance of error or pixel displacement is very low. But regardless of whether the tornado is still intact or not, you've got heavy rain and lightning right over Crestview. So you've definitely got straight line winds that are showing up about 65 miles per hour. The circulation, according to the Weather Service, could be reorganizing south of I-10 and east of Highway 85. So that would be in this general quadrant, the southeastern quadrant of Okaloosa County. So we'll go back to the velocity display, and it looks like it would be in this general region. Right here is what the Weather Service is watching. So we're going to stay with this and continue to monitor it. The warning itself expires at 1:15. Now, if this goes farther east out into Walton County, that's outside of our television market, so that's not something we would stay with wall-to-wall continuous coverage with. But you can see, look, they just sparked off a new tornado warning just to the south of that. The one between, another one, Jason, between Crestview and Niceville, and it looks like that one will expire at 1:30. So technically, it's a new warning.
Yeah, new warning up right now for a possible tornado in Okaloosa County, and this is common when we have these circulation areas that are embedded within a squall line type feature. We can see them very quickly ramp up, produce a brief spin-up tornado. That particular circulation can weaken, a new one can form nearby along the line. So this line has been exhibiting rotation, and it is showing possibly a new area of rotation which may be producing a tornado along Highway 85. So the National Weather Service put up a new box. That's why it looks a little confusing here. You've got this box right here, which is tornado warning number 2, and then you have the original tornado warning number 1 in that box there coming through Crestview. And looking at the velocity, it looks like the worst of it's going to be right in through here, right south and along and near Crestview along 4 and 85. 85 is a major thoroughfare. It ends up ultimately becoming the Mid-Bay Bridge. If you travel to Destin regularly on Interstate 10 and you take Interstate 10 to Crestview and then go south on 85, that's the way to get there. And so your rotation area is going to be right through here on the south side of town, and south of Interstate 10 as you go down 85. There are a lot of businesses along through here. There are restaurants, there are gas stations, there are a lot of different commercial entities that are right here along Highway 85 that are going to be north of Eglin Air Force Base, but on the south side of Crestview, and then you've got the heart of town right there. So pretty much this whole area, if you're anywhere around Crestview right now, you need to be in shelter. We've had a report of a possible confirmed tornado as a result of the debris being lofted up with this, and now looking at it here, there is a very well-defined rotation area that's occurring along this line of intense thunderstorms. And regardless of whether we have a tornado on the ground or not right now, we've definitely got the potential for very strong straight line winds. Let's look inside this area here for any debris right now. As we look at it, Michael, that correlation coefficient has been very good at showing us exactly where we have problems and the potential for a tornado. Right now, not showing anything that shows up as a well-defined area of debris, so that may be a favorable sign. Just to show you that we're throwing a lot at you. I know we're throwing you a lot of colors and a lot of stuff that we wouldn't normally show on television, but we want to give you an exact idea of what's happening with this possible tornado and why we can see and why this warning's been issued. That right there is debris aloft, and so we're using a dual pole radar product called correlation coefficients, able to determine the difference between ordinary raindrops and other items, which could be debris aloft. If it's a very strong signature, it's obviously going to have a higher reflectivity level than actual rainfall, and so we can see tree limbs, branches, stuff like that. And this is it here, showing a lot of debris aloft as of 12:41. So we did get a report of a roof getting blown off of a house on Log Lake Road in Holt, which is right there. So when this thing came through, it may actually be west of Gallagher. I may have jumped the gun there. There's Holt, there's Log Lake Road right there. So we had a report of roof getting blown off of a house here, and that would have been, say around 12:30 or so when we had a very strong debris signature. So there's Log Lake Road, here's Holt, and there's that debris signature just south of Interstate 10. Likely came right across Log Lake Road. If you see any of these roads here, you may want to check on anybody you know that lives around Broxton Road. The Sundance Way area had a report of debris there earlier around 12:30 p.m. Now, moving forward with this moved over the rural sections of Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties, tracking along, getting closer towards Lakota Drive and just along and south of Interstate 10, Carr Road, and then we saw that debris signature continuing along Interstate 10 to where it is presently, which is more up around the Milligan area and getting into Crestview. You can see the debris again getting carried possibly at this point aloft. Then this thing morphed into what looks like a straight line wind event that still has the potential to pick up debris and carry it aloft, and then now into the Crestview area with the heart of the storm. Then a new rotation area formed south of Crestview along Highway 85 in this area here, and now we have a new tornado warning that's going to stay up until 1:30. Look at that right now. Again, the rotation is not as well defined down here in this second box here. We can see the rotation area from the first tornado that went across Log Lake Road. It looks like it's on the south side of I-10 in the Holt community. And now we've got a rotating thunderstorm up within the original polygon that's coming through Crestview, a very nasty cell there with well-defined rotation along 85 and Highway 4. Another thing to note with the new warning that just came out, the forward speed is slowed. So initially it was going forward at 50 miles an hour. Now we've got a forward speed to the east at about 25 miles an hour. That's going to keep it for a while longer into Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties now in Okaloosa County. So tracking this with that fast forward speed. We've got it near the Deerland area by 112, and then over towards Mossy Head. Mossy Head is outside our area, so that's going to be over into Walton County. But looking at it right there, that is a very well-defined signature actually for inbound and outbound velocity. And Michael made an excellent point there. This is being scanned from the National Weather Service dual pole radar at Eglin Air Force Base, which is located really only about 30 or 40 miles from this particular cell. And so it's giving us a really good picture of what's going on within this thunderstorm. It's going to be very accurate in predicting exactly where this thing is. And we've got it near PJ Adams Parkway, Highway 4, essentially coming right through Crestview right now with a tornado warning that is in effect. Also, in addition to a roof being blown off of a house along Pine Log Road in Holt, we've also had a report of a structure fire due to a lightning strike along Hiawatha Street and Holt. And so we were doing our street level mapping. We showed you that earlier. And look at the concentration of lightning strikes right now in Crestview. This is just awful, the amount of lightning we're getting within this thunderstorm. So whether it's producing a tornado or not, it's guaranteed it's producing a lot of lightning and also potentially straight line winds. Michael, definitely an active thunderstorm coming through the Crestview area as we're watching and tracking here live on Fox 10 News this afternoon.
We sure are, Jason. Yeah, so we've gotten the reports of the lightning. That obviously has been a huge problem all morning long because of the amount, and not just because of dealing with lightning, but the amount of lightning. We have had thousands of lightning strikes so far today, and the amount of thunder that those are producing, I know, is making for a very rowdy afternoon in Okaloosa County. But one thing that Jason has mentioned is that we want to reemphasize is that everyone west of I-65, your severe threat is over. Your tornado watch is gone. For everyone else, it's going to be in play a little bit longer this afternoon. Your severe weather threat's going to continue for a while. We're going to end up watching to see if we get the tornado warning to hold together, whether it will go into Walton County, which is technically outside of our viewing area. But you can see on just this 3-hour loop the amount of lightning that shifted from Baldwin County over toward the Florida Panhandle, from Escambia to Santa Rosa and now to Okaloosa. So whether or not you've got a tornado in your area, you definitely have straight line winds. You certainly have intense amounts of rain. You don't want to drive through any of this. You want to make sure you stay off the road. The tornado warning, the first one, has been canceled. One of them has been canceled, but another one is still in play. So this one is still active, Jason, as of now. One has been dropped, but this one is still up. The one that covers that corridor of State Highway 85 just south of Crestview.
Yeah, it looks like they're no longer continuing the warning on the south side of town, but looking at it here, the one that's in the heart of Crestview is going to continue, and that should stay in effect until 1:15. So we're going to stay under a tornado warning for about the next 20 minutes here, and we continue to get some very alarming reports of damage from what this did earlier when it was south of Holt and in Holt. And we've had reports of a roof collapse and also a roof lifted off of a home, and that roof collapse, tree falling into the house, also a structure fire in that area over near Log Lake Road in Holt for a possible tornado there. So looking at it, you can see the inbound and the outbound velocity showing a couplet here, a rotating thunderstorm coming through Crestview right now. That would put a possible tornado near Interstate 10 and Highway 85. It's tracking to the east and headed towards Walton County. It's moving east at about 25 to 30 miles an hour. There's likely going to be the potential of this getting continued because we've got this rotation area right here that's about to outrun the storm-based warning. And the way tornado warnings are issued now, it used to be they'd be just issued for a whole county, but that's pretty generic, doesn't give anybody any specific information. Now they're issued for a specific geographical area that's not necessarily corresponding with any political boundaries, and that's because tornadoes go where they go and they don't really care about lines on a map. And so looking at the track here, what this will do is that if you're in the Crestview area, you're probably getting the alert on your smartphone If you have location services turned on and you're anywhere within this red box, you get an alert. So it works out really well. It's really specific, gives you detailed information, and it also shows us a track of this possible tornado still under a tornado warning for the Crestview area, tracking along Interstate 10 and Highway 90 and moving east at about 25 miles an hour. We do have rotation going on within this thunderstorm right now. We don't see a debris signature like we had earlier. Earlier, when we had this thing south of Holt along Log Lake Road, we had a very well-defined debris signature. In fact, we were tracking one rotation area, and then we noticed on the debris that signature that showed up right there around Milligan, and we thought, hey, this thing may have shifted a little, and based on debris, we're actually to locate a new forming velocity scan. So this dual pole product, it gives us a way of finding rotation areas and finding tornadoes. It gives us another element, another tool in the tool chest to help us find exactly what's going on the ground as far as possible tornadoes and tornadic activity. Right now there is a tornado warning that's going to continue for about the next 15 minutes for Okaloosa County. At this point, the warned area is going to include Highway 90 and I-10. It's pretty evident that the rotation area is now east of Highway 85 and moving over the eastern sections of Okaloosa County. And looking at it here, we expect this to continue tracking to the east. If this is not producing a tornado, it is very likely producing some extreme gusty winds. We could see wind gusts well over 60 miles per hour with this thunderstorm as it comes through the Crestview area. And the rest of the area, you know, we're starting to see some improvements back to the west. So if you're in Mobile right now, if you're in Baldwin County, we are not done with the rain. We are not done with the severe threat across the Florida Panhandle, but we're starting to see improvements. Once you get on the back edge of the showers and thunderstorms, it's usually a much lower threat than what you have with the leading edge. In Mobile County, Lott Road, Highway 45, the Georgetown area, getting down towards Cushel a little bit, and 158 got a cell here. Big Creek Lake area and Sims, nasty looking cell coming through. We're getting some lightning strikes with that. But in Mobile, not seeing the heavy thunderstorms yet, and we're not totally done until this band comes through, which is likely lining up closer to the surface cold front. And the front itself is going to be a little delayed. We expected that. We expected to see a lot of prefrontal activity today, and that's the way it's played out so far. So until the front actually comes through, we're still fair game for some thunderstorms. There's not going to be a big cold air punch behind this either. It will be a little bit chilly at night, especially on Saturday night and Sunday night this weekend. We've got some beautiful weather. In fact, looking off to the west, yeah, it's 81 degrees in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And there you go, crossing the front over towards Shreveport, Louisiana. It drops back to 61 degrees. So we're still seeing all this activity and the possible severe weather and the tornado warning that we have right now. That is all well ahead of the surface front. And looking at it, the tornado warning is going to go in effect until 1:30. So we're just getting that updated now. You can see it flashing, and that means that a change is occurring. So this old warning is about to be upgraded by this new warning, which is going to basically continue the old warning forward from the Crestview area to the east over towards Walton County for a possible tornado near Crestview on the west side of town, moving to the east at 25 miles an hour. So the National Weather Service is currently in the process of updating that warning because we still see a well-defined rotation area in a system that has produced a confirmed tornado. And we've seen the debris. We're getting the reports back, and there it is there again, a little broad, but still some rotation occurring around Crestview and headed towards Dorcas and Deerland and Poverty Creek Road, as well as 393 and Highway 90 here, which is over in Okaloosa County. Highway 90 covers our whole forecast area from Pascagoula all the way to Okaloosa County through Mobile and Baldwin County and everywhere else. But this is the portion that's in Okaloosa County. Our rotation area right now is right near 90 and 10, and it's lost a little of its forward speed. It was racing on off to the east at about 50 miles an hour when it was coming through Holt. Now it's a slower forward speed of about 25 miles an hour. And so looking underneath this, we've got Chestnut Avenue, we've got Highway 90, we've got Airport Road, I-10, Highway 90. Here's Crestview, and checking for debris. Again, not seeing that well-defined debris signature, so that is at least some temporary good news going on here, but we still have the rotation. At any time, if this thing is not producing a tornado right now, it may drop another one down here across eastern Okaloosa County as it moves along Highway 90 and heads over towards Walton County. Current time is 1:02. This warning is going to stay in effect until 1:30. So basically, as long as that rotation area, which has had a history of producing damage, is occurring in Okaloosa County, we're going to stay under a tornado warning, tracking this thing over into Walton County, I-10 area, Highway 90, and continue on off towards the east. An active weather situation this afternoon. We've been watching this for a couple of days as it's been heading our way. We've been under that level 3 enhanced risk for severe weather. We've had multiple advisories down today, and unfortunately this has played out almost exactly like we expected it would play out as we were looking at the Fox 10 Futurecast model yesterday. If you were following our coverage, we were expecting this thing to drag across the panhandle into the early afternoon. We had a game plan in place to have team coverage, and unfortunately we have needed to execute that game plan here today because of the severe weather threat. This is the severe weather risk zone map. It is showing a lowering risk to the west, and we can already tell you once they start dropping those tornado watches, things look better, but the area where we're getting the tornadic activity matches up as to be in the heart of the level 3 enhanced risk zone map issued by the Storm Prediction Center. So we kind of saw this thing coming based on what we were getting from SPC days ahead of it, and also computer modeling. So an overview, back edge of the precipitation over Mobile County, getting some showers in South Baldwin County right now, but not looking at any rotation there. We just had a nasty cell pass through Pensacola. That's over the 3-mile bridge in Garcon Point. It's tracking towards 87. We're not seeing any rotation within that one right now, but we've been watching it. And then Crestview area right now continue to see some rotation with this cell here, which has prompted a tornado warning. And that tornado warning was first issued with some debris being reported as we were watching that rotation area coming out of Santa Rosa County and into Okaloosa County. Looking at it now, there is broad rotation that still persists along Highway 90. It's starting to make some progress away from the east side of Crestview, and it's tracking towards the Deerland area. 393 is also a fairly well-traveled road between Highway 90 and up towards Dorcas and leads up into northern Okaloosa County. So we've got a Highway 393. This is tracking towards 393 and Deerland right now. And also, as we always do here on Fox 10 News, when we have these large-scale events, the potential for severe weather outbreaks, we try and bring you team coverage whenever necessary or whenever possible. And meteorologist Michael White is in. And Michael, looking at this here, it's still showing some broad rotation across Okaloosa County.
It is, Jason. I can't imagine the severe weather potential from that storm is going to last too much longer, not just because of the broadness of the storm, but also the storm is almost moving off into parts of Walton County, which is outside of our area, and then the severe weather potential is going to be dying off. If you watched my coverage this morning on the morning news, when we were showing you the Futurecast, it looked like the whole thing was going to be over before 3 o'clock this afternoon. And it's almost playing out that way, because I think about 3 is when we'll see all of those storms, even the ones that are in Pensacola right now, officially exiting the area, which means we're going to have better weather for the afternoon. We're going to have better weather as we head in toward this evening. Really sensational weather as we push forward into the upcoming weekend, which is really going to be nice. The Weather Service just said they're going to, for now, continue the tornado warning. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is 4 miles east of Crestview, moving northeast. We were right about that directional change, Jason, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. So it has slowed down in speed, but it's still, if you're on Deerland or Dorcas, Poverty Creek Road, you're still under the gun for a possible tornado threat, which means you still have to make sure you're in the lowest level of your home, away from doors, windows. You certainly, if you're in an apartment, you want to be in the first floor. Make sure sure you're friends with the neighbors so you can go down there in this type of situation. But for everyone else, your tornado threat's basically done, and we're not going to see the weather getting active again until the middle portion of next week. Certainly, we're going to have a great-looking weekend, which is good news. And I know, some folks were asking about, well, what about outdoor events? I know Fairhope's got their Arts and Crafts Festival going on. It looks like now they can pretty much start it. I know they were waiting until the rain and storms are over, but based on what we're seeing here on the radar imagery, I think they can, for all intents and purposes, get that thing going, which is going to be really good news for them. Good news for anybody that the schools that were in session. I think Baldwin County was in session today. They got 2 more hours on the clock, and then all of this is going to be out of Baldwin County by that point. So really, it's going to play out very well for them, and it's going to play out well for any of you that have any plans going on for this evening or going on for tomorrow or for Sunday. The weekend looks really good. The high temperatures will be down into the low 70s. We're also expecting to see a huge drop in humidity with mornings down into the 40s. The current temperatures as of 1 o'clock, Mobile and Pensacola, you're both in the mid 70s. But it's not only that, it's the dew point numbers, which are in the low 70s. Yesterday, for example, just to show you what a difference 24 hours can make because of that warm front, our dew points yesterday were in the lower 50s. The air felt really good. The higher the dew point, the muggier the air. And when you have dew points in the low 70s, that's like pouring gasoline on a fire. The severe risk just intensifies and explodes. And you really don't want that muggy air because the air parcels are able to rise freely, and that makes the atmosphere above more volatile, which is why we end up with this mess to begin with. But the good news is we're not going to be dealing with any more of it as we move forward into the rest of the night. So as we go back to the watch warning map, you can see that the tornado warning is still active till at least 1:30. It may get dropped before then, and it's for eastern Okaloosa County. It technically does include Crestview, but the bigger issue right now is Deerland and Dorcas, Poverty Creek Road, Highway 393 in Okaloosa County, north of US 90 and north of I-10. You're under the gun for this tornado warning. And as we go back to the velocity display, still it's a pretty broad rotation. I mean, yeah, we're seeing the red and green connected, but it's not what it was earlier when it was over Holt and we were getting that debris signature that was so well defined. All of that has really started to kind of fade out at this point, which is good news, because when we came on the air at 4:30, it was still quiet. It was humid, but the weather was quiet. We didn't see things really shaking and baking until at least after 7, and then after 8 o'clock, things really got pushed into high gear, and they've been that way ever since. If I'm right, Jason, the last time we had really active weather was we had that severe weather threat come through Mobile County, that tornado warning that went off after midnight.
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
Middle of the night event about a week or so ago. We had a confirmed EF1 tornado. That's the last one we saw. And then this one, now, this was embedded within a level 3 risk zone, an enhanced risk zone. So the potential actually was greater for tornadic activity in this particular situation. We've had 2 confirmed areas of damage today. One near Admore, that was about 9 o'clock, and then unfortunately one near Holt, Florida, in Okaloosa County, and over into the Santa Rosa County area, right near the Santa Rosa Okaloosa County line. We had reports of roof damage, a tree through a roof and a roof collapse, also a roof lifted off a home there, and also a lightning strike and a structure fire. So not a good situation at all. And the core of this rotation area is now on the east side of Crestview. It's really outside of town. It's getting out near these 2 communities here, Deerland and Dorcas, and it's also pulling away from I-10 and with a northeasterly projection, even with I-10 included in these warnings, and one of them's about to drop. The back one right through here will be expired at 1:15, and then this box here will stay in effect until 1:30. Basically, they continued the old warning for that possible rotation area there along Highway 90. We're going to watch that as it moves towards the east-northeast and the northeast at about 25 miles an hour, and soon enough it'll be over into Walton County, so it'll be outside our forecast area. But this thing has had a history of producing damage, and looking at it, it produced damage right here near Interstate Interstate 10 at the Florida in parts of the Panhandle as we get into the Santa Rosa and Okaloosa County areas west of Gallagher down near Holt. That's Pine Log Road, that black line right there, and Log Lake Road, I should say, and that's where we had that damage that occurred. So Log Lake Road, Highway 90, south side of Holt, that would have been around 12:30 p.m. That's where we had a possible tornado that was indicated with a debris signature on our dual pole radar product, and then that whole mess has made it all the way over into Crestview, and that's why we're under a tornado warning right now for the east side of Crestview and out near Deerland. Again, these volume scans continue to come in. If you had to pick a spot where there would be a likely tornado, it would be right here around Deerland, and that's going to have it near Mount Olive Road, Northwood Road. 393 is the road between Deerland and Dorcas right there, and then we've got out towards some of these roads here. If you see your road popping up, you know you need to be taking cover. Let this thing roll on by. It's moving very quickly at about 25 miles an hour, so it won't be around long. But if you're ahead of it, Curvin Road, Mare Creek Drive, Highway 393, we've got a rotation area coming from Killingsworth Crossroads and Deerland, and it is moving off to the northeast like this. So it's going to be tracking right across these areas here in eastern Okaloosa County. Dorcas, it looks like it's pulling away from the Deerland area and getting up towards Dorcas and tracking towards the Walton Okaloosa County line. Crestview looking better now. I know we're getting lightning, thunder, heavy rain, but the rotation area is now about 5 to 10 miles to your east now. So it looks like that's pulling out of town. If you're in Crestview, you're looking better. If you're in Milligan, things are looking better. We're obviously going to continue to get some heavy rain. We are not done. If this thing here moves out into Walton County, we're still going to be watching this with team coverage, obviously, as we go into the afternoon with meteorologist Jennifer Lamberts here and myself as we look at the Highway 98 area and Interstate 10. We've got to keep an eye on Navarre, Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Valparaiso, and also Niceville. These are areas we're going to have to watch as this tracks away from Escambia Bay and working over into Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties on the southern end. We've got to see this line all the way through the area before we can begin to breathe easier and know that the severe weather threat has passed, because it's not passed. It's still existing for the southern sections of the area, including the beaches. Gulf breeze getting rocked with a heavy thunderstorm right now. It was in Pensacola earlier, but it looks like a lot of those lightning strikes are spreading out over Pensacola Bay and East Bay and Garcon Point as it moves over towards Avalon Beach here. It's going to be tracking over towards Navarre. Pensacola Beach right now getting rocked with a heavy storm. It's never good to have a storm this nasty coming through right during the middle of spring break. I mean, obviously folks are going to be inside hopefully, but not a good situation on the beach today. Tomorrow will be a good situation on the beach, except for the rip current risk, and also getting into Sunday. Looks like we're going to have improving conditions there as well. So right now we remain, as we look at it, under a tornado warning for Okaloosa County, and we're going to continue to see that in effect. We're also under a tornado watch, which is getting trimmed some now. A lot of the counties are dropping out of that tornado watch, but we still see it for Escambia County, Alabama, Florida, also South Baldwin County, Santa Rosa County, and Okaloosa counties in Florida, and that's going to stay in effect for a little while longer. So watches are issued when conditions are favorable for tornadoes. Doesn't mean one's happening, but then you get one of these red deals, and that is a tornado warning, and that means the tornado is happening right now, and that warning is going to stay in effect until 1:30. The old one, as I told you, was about to drop, and it did, so it's taken Crestview pretty much out of it, and now the only tornado warning left in our area is this one here on the far eastern edge of Okaloosa County for a possible tornado near Highway 90 and Interstate 10, tracking on off to the east at 25 miles an hour, and the rotation area is almost completely out of the forecast area. It's going to be between Deerland and the Walton County line. There's the Dorcas community there, and it is a very broad rotation too. Just wanted to alert you to that we're not seeing anything along this line that stands out as a guaranteed on-the-ground tornado. We're not seeing the debris signature like we had earlier when this thing was over around Holt. So just in, the tornado warning for Crestview has been allowed to expire. The tornado warned area is going to be for a rotation area that's only going to be in our part of the forecast area for about the next 10 minutes, if that. It would be a possible tornado up in through here, located up near Dorcas, Florida, in Okaloosa County. It's pulling away from Killingsworth Crossroads and tracking up into Walton County. Crestview is here, so we're in better shape as far as rotation right now in Crestview. The rest of the area is seeing some really heavy thunderstorms, some heavy downpours, getting a little more rain than I think we could bargain for in some areas. There is a flash flood warning up right now for far northeastern Escambia County and far southeastern Conecuh County. This is going to be around Brooklyn and Paul, included in a flash flood warning, and that's going to be for Conecuh and Escambia counties near the Sepulga River, and you're just north of Bradley there and north of US 31 here in Escambia County. Flash flood warning is going to stay in effect for quite a while this afternoon for all the very, very heavy rain we had earlier. We're not totally done with the rainfall threat, but the last band is pulling through Mobile now. Saraland and Chickasaw getting rocked by a thunderstorm right now, but it's not nearly as bad as what the neighbors to the east are seeing right now. Pensacola, persistent heavy rain and storms. Still a very, very strong lightning signature presently in Okaloosa County with this cell here over on the east side of Crestview. You can see a tornado warning in effect for the Crestview area, and between there and Defuniak Springs is basically where that warned area is. The rotation area itself, it's going to be a little bit north of 90 and a little north of Interstate 10, and not much longer it too will be outside our forecast area, and it'll be more of an issue for the television stations and the broadcast partners over into Walton County. So right now, seeing a little improvement on radar trends. We're not out of the woods. We still remain into the possibility of seeing tornadic activity in our area. We're tracking a rotation area that's on the far eastern edge of the area, almost completely out of the forecast area now here, and that tornado warning is going to stay in effect technically until about 1:30, but it looks like the rotation is even pulling away from the Dorcas area now and tracking over into Walton County. And have you seen anything new with this cell here, Michael, as we're looking at it here on radar?
No, I'm really not, Jason. It looks like it's pretty much, for all intents and purposes, out of our television market, because Walton County is served by the Panama City local TV stations, not the Mobile and Pensacola TV stations. So yeah, based on the signature, it looks like it's east of Deerland, east of Dorcas, and pretty much out of our area. As far as the rain and storms, though, the actual rain itself, still got a lot more of that to track. Still got a lot of lightning located between Pensacola and Navarre that we're going to be watching throughout the course of the rest of the afternoon. Thankfully, after we get past 3 o'clock, we'll see most of those storms gone from the Florida Panhandle, and conditions are going to start to improve. Back off to the west, the last leg of rain, the last little bit of it, is now pushing east of Saraland and east of Satsuma and over toward Gravine Island and Cloverleaf Landing. Looks like it might stay just north of Spanish Fort and the eastern shore. So those of you who got pounded with waves of rain and storms earlier, looks like you're finally going to get a little bit of relief, and any ponding of water can start to recede, which is good news. And even better news than that, just found out that the Fairhope Arts and Crafts Festival is going to be rolling starting at 3 today, Jason. So I know they're going to be happy about that, and the fact that weather this weekend is going to be nice, and our old friend the sunshine will be making a return appearance.
And we invite you to join us with that good information there on Fox 10 News at 4 and 5 p.m. as well as at 9 p.m. We're going to have highlights and also the damage reports of what we've seen, confirmed tornadoes, all the latest stories and reports of damage in our area. We're going to have our reporters out in the field and showing us what's been occurring in the Atmore area and also over into Okaloosa County. So you want to join us for that. In the meantime, knowing that this warned area is basically getting transitioned over into Walton County, we're going to go back to regularly scheduled programming, but we're going to continue to watch this line with team coverage as it moves through the entire area.